Hey guys, Pastor Matt here, senior pastor at Bethlehem Lutheran Church and founder and director of the Kairos Network. And I have some really big news that I want to share with you. But in order to share it with you, I want to take you on a little walk through my community. So let's head out. So for the last 5 years, my family and I have been here at Bethlehem Lutheran Church in Ridgewood, New Jersey. And I have been the senior pastor of Bethlehem, a church that's been around for 117 years. And so we came out 5 years ago to take over as senior pastor of the church and then also to launch out the Kairos Network. And so over the last 5 years, we've seen God do some incredible things in this place. We've seen God move us forward in ways we never thought would have been possible. And it's been really fun to see. But over the last year, my family and I have been praying, and we felt God leading us to make the really hard decision of resigning our call here at Bethlehem, which, if you're not familiar with church stuff, means essentially saying that in June, I'm leaving my job and stepping back into full-time church planting and training church planters through the Kairos Network. Now, this was not an easy decision, and I'll tell you why. It's not easy because of this street. This is Walnut, but every time I walk up and down Walnut, I'm reminded of all the deep and meaningful friendships that we've made over the years here in Ridgewood. Up and down this street, there's 50 plus kids that are 10 and under, and our kids have made good friends on this street, best friends on this street. We made friends with families that'll last a lifetime. But it's not just the street, it's the community itself. We've met so many people at our CrossFit gym and around Ridgewood, and we've made deep friendships at our church. But, you know, sometimes I'm just reminded that God calls us out to do hard things. And the place that reminds me the most about that is the place I want to show you next. So every time I walk by this coffee shop, Bulldog, I'm reminded of what happens when you take a step of faith in the direction that God's calling you to go. And I'm reminded of that because Bulldog is where we first launched out our first Kairos Network church plant training cohort. It was out of this coffee shop over a cup of coffee that Mile Square Church and Camino de Fe were launched out for the first time. And I'm always amazed when I think of the Camino de Fe story, because to me, Dan is a picture of what it looks like to take a step of faith. Dan came out and he said, "Hey, I'm interested in church planting." And I said, "That's great." I found out he spoke Spanish and I was like, "Have you ever thought of planting a bilingual church?" He said, "I'll never do that." 3 months later, over a cup of coffee in this coffee shop, Dan tells me, "I got 10 people meeting in a living room doing a bilingual Bible study. What do we do next?" And Camino de Fe was born. It's amazing to me to see the impact they've made in the community, helping the Hispanic community in the schools, with the police, with the mayor, with the food banks they've done. It's incredible. And all that was launched out of a step of faith right here in a coffee shop. You know, I think about that because the Kairos Network was basically born in a coffee shop. You know, we sat there, we did church plant training. After church plant training, we did things like webinar series to develop content, which during the pandemic turned into a webinar series to help church leaders. We grew our email list up to 1,600 people, and we're able to help people navigate everything from how they could start a live stream in their church service all the way down to doing finances and other ministry tasks. It was truly incredible. And so every time I walk by here, I'm reminded of what happens when you take a step of faith. Well, hey, thanks for taking this walk with us. And you're probably wondering, okay, what's next? Well, what's next is I want to invite you to join us on this journey. God has called us back into church planting and into training new ministry start leaders who are going to start gospel-centered ministries that are going to help disconnected people get connected to Jesus. And I want to invite you to join us. Now, look, here's the deal. You don't have to move anywhere, but there's 3 tangible things you can do to join us in this ministry right now today. And the first is this: follow these updates. Join us as we tell the story of what God's doing. You're going to get to see the challenges that come and the triumphs that come. You're going to get to hear the stories of new things that are starting, and you're going to get to see what God does through this. So I want to encourage you, follow us on this journey. We'll send out monthly updates. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can sign up for our email list, or you can do some regular check-ins at theKairosNetwork.com. The other thing you can do, number 2, is you can join our prayer team. We have a prayer team that's in prayer for what's happening right here, because the reality is nothing is planted out with our great strategies and plans, but it's through prayer and dependence on God that really great things are launched out that connect people to Jesus. And so we want to invite you to join us in that journey. We'll send out prayer updates twice a week with specific prayer requests, prayers for leaders that are being raised up, prayer for God's direction, prayer for provision as He moves us forward. And you can join us in that prayer process. And the prayer team is one of the backbones of the Kairos Network. And then finally, you can become a Kairos Catalyst. A Kairos Catalyst is a financial supporter that helps us support the network to be able to launch out new ministries, create new trainings, and be able to plant new churches. You can join us by going to thekairosnetwork.com and clicking on support. You could click the link below in this video, and anything that you give, whether one time or monthly, is going to be a huge part of us being able to connect the disconnected to Jesus and to translate the unchanging gospel ever-changing world. So hey, I want to thank you for taking a walk with me today. I hope you get to take a couple more walks with us and get to see as this thing unfolds. But wherever it takes us, check out thekairosnetwork.com, and you can follow all the things God's already done and all the things He's going to continue